Hi, it's Dawn from Ninja Bunny Crochet. Today we're going to do a 14-inch pillow case cover or pillow cover. This is done in 3 panels. The first panel, this is the front cover, this is the first panel, is done in it's done in 42 rows. Then we're going to do 2 panels for the back. Each panel is done in 25 rows. You can easily adjust this to a larger or a smaller pillow by adjusting the number of rows and the number of stitches across. The stitch count for this stitch is 3 plus 2 plus 1 for the turning chain. So as long as you work your width in sets of 3, then you add 2 to complete the pattern and 1 more for the turning chain. You can adjust it to fit any size pillow. This size pillow is a 14-inch pillow form, which is inside here. This cover is removable, which is why you have 2 panels on the back. Now I'm going to drop down the camera and we'll talk about the yarn and the hooks that you need. The yarn I used is Lion Brand's Mandala. This particular color is called Centaur, and this is the actual ball I used to make the pillow too. This comes in a cake of 590 yards. It is a lightweight 3 yarn, 5.3 ounces or 150 grams. You won't use all of the yarn. You can see how much I have left over here if you're doing a 14-inch pillow. If you're doing a larger pillow, you might need to get more yarn. If you're doing a smaller pillow, you probably won't use as much yarn, so you won't use all of the skein. You don't have to use this yarn, but I would suggest using a lightweight 3 yarn. I used a H 5.0 millimeter hook for this pattern. You'll want a pair of scissors, a yarn needle to weave in your ends, and you're going to need at least 2 stitch markers. And you might want some pins for when you are sewing together your pillow to pin your pieces together. Once you have all your supplies, let's get started. Your starting chain should be 48 chains for each panel. That is a multiple of 3 plus 2 plus 1 for the turning chain. You're going to make 2 panels of 25 rows for your back of your pillow and 1 panel of 42 rows for the front of your pillow. I'm going to be making 1 panel of 25 rows. Each panel is done exactly the same. So I will show you how to do one of the panels, the 25 row panel, then you can make a second 25 row panel and then make your 42 row panel, but again, they're done exactly the same. Once you have all your panels done, I'll show you how to sew everything together and finish off your pillow. We're going to start 3rd chain from hook. The loop on your hook does not count as a stitch, so you're going to go 1, 2, 3, and we're going to start with a half double crochet. The skipped chain is going to count as a stitch. So you're going to yarn over and do a double crochet into that same stitch. We're going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and we're going to go with a single crochet, a half double crochet, and a double crochet all into the same chain. Again, skip the next 2 chains, 1, 2. We're going to do a single, half double, and a double crochet, all into the same chain. Skip the next 2 chains, 1, 2, and repeat. Single, half double, and double crochet. You can continue this all the way down to the end of the chain. You're going to have 3 chains left, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the chain when we have 3 chains left. I'm at the end of the chain. We have 3 chains left. We're going to skip the next 2, so 1, 2, and go into that last chain with a single crochet. We should now have 45 stitches in row 1. To start row 2, we're going to chain 1. This chain 1 counts as a stitch, so go ahead and grab your stitch marker, and we're going to mark it so that on the way back we'll know where that stitch is. Turn your work, and in that very first stitch we're going to go ahead with a half double crochet, and then a double crochet. And you can see how this chain 1 on the end here is kind of on the side, which is why you want to mark it, so you'll be able to find it on the way back. Skip the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, and you're going to go into that 3rd stitch with a single crochet, a half double crochet, and a double crochet. Again, skip the next 2, 1, 2, and repeat that pattern. Single, half double, and a double. Skip the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, and do single, half double, and double crochet all into the next stitch. So please repeat this pattern all the way to the end till you get to the last 3 stitches again, and I'll show you how to end the row. I'm at the end of row 2. We still have the 45 stitches, or we will as soon as we complete this last stitch. So you might, on this very first row, because we weren't really able to mark that first stitch, it might be a little bit difficult to find this stitch, but if you turn your work and you'll see your first 2 stitches, and this on the end is your chain. So you're going to just take your hook and work it into that chain, that first chain right there, and do a single crochet to end your row. This is the only row that's going to be a little bit difficult, because from here on out you're going to have your stitch markers. So grab another stitch marker to start row 3, chain 1, and go ahead and mark that chain as your first stitch, and then turn your work. And we're basically going to be repeating row 2 for this panel. This is going to be one of your back panels. So we're going to do 25 rows. You're going to make 2 panels of 25 rows and 1 panel of 42 rows. They're basically the same, exactly the same, 48 chains, 45 stitches. It's just the number of rows. So 2 panels of 25 rows, 1 panel of 42 rows. So let's get right back into starting our row 3. We're going to start with a half double crochet right into that first stitch, go into a double crochet into that same stitch, skip the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, go into that third stitch with a single, half double, and a double. Again, skip the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, and we're going to go with a single, half double, and a double. So you're just repeating the same pattern that you've been doing for the first 2 rows all the way down to the end, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the row, since this will be the first time you'll be using the stitch marker to show you how to end the row. I'm at the end of the row, and here's our stitch marker. We're going to go ahead and take that stitch marker out and insert our hook into that chain 1 to do our single crochet to end the row. Then we're going to do our chain 1 to turn and replace the stitch marker. So we still have our 45 stitches, and we just turn our work and we're ready to start row 4. So continue working this in pattern till you have however many rows that you are going to be working on for this panel. I'm going to be doing one of the back panels, so I'll be doing 25 rows. I will meet back up with you once I have my 25 rows, and we'll work on the edging around the panel. I'm at the end of row 25. We still have the 45 stitches. To start our edging, it doesn't matter whether you're working on the back panels, which have the 25 rows, or the front panel, which has the 42 rows. It's still done the same way. You're going to chain 1, turn the work, and we're going to place 1 half double crochet into each stitch all the way across. So continue placing 1 half double crochet in each stitch all the way across till you get to the end of the row, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of the row, and in this last stitch, which is that chain 1, we're going to place 3 half double crochets to go around the corner. So 1, 2, and 3. And turn the work upright, and we're going to go with 1 half double crochet into each row and the ends of the rows. When you get to the corner again, that's when you're going to place 3 half double crochets in the corners and go along the opposite side of your starting chain, working your way down around. Again, 3 half double crochets in this corner, working up the row, ends of the rows, back to your original start, where you're going to place 2 half double crochets into that last stitch and slip stitch to the first half double crochet that you made. And that's where you'll fasten off. I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. I'm coming up to the end of the round. I have 1, row left, and I'm going to go ahead and place 2 half double crochets into that row and slip stitch into the first half double crochet that we made to end the round. We're going to make one more round, so we're going to chain 1, and we're going to put a half double crochet right back into that same stitch that we just slip stitched into, and 1 half double crochet into each stitch around, except for when you get to those corners. You're going to put 3 half double crochets into the corner, and when you come back around to this last stitch again, place 2 half double crochets and slip stitch to that first half double crochet that you made and fasten off. I will meet back up with you at the end of round 2. I'm at the end of round 2. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch to that first half double crochet that we made and go ahead and fasten this off. Now we're just going to go ahead and weave in all the ends and pull out my other panels and show you how to assemble your pillow. So you will need to make one more panel of 25 rows and one panel of 42 rows with the edging. Once you have all those done, come on back and we will put the panels together and finish up the pillow. Okay, here we have our pillow pieces. I'm having a little trouble getting the whole thing to fit into the camera. We're going to put our right sides together. Here is your 42 row panel on the bottom. This is actually your front of your pillow, and these are your 25 row panels, and they are your back. So you're going to lay one down and lay your other one over the top so that the wrong sides are facing out, right sides are facing together. I do have a couple sides here pinned down already. So we're going to go ahead and pin this down together so that we can whip stitch along the outside edge. This part here is going to stay open because this is how you're going to slip your pillow inside, your pillow form. So let me get my pins here, and we're going to go ahead and just pin, match the sides up like so, and go ahead and put some pins in here. You don't have to pin it together, but I just find it's a little bit easier to go ahead and pin it together while you're sewing it. And then we're going to make sure that this comes out, and then we're going to put, so we have all 3 layers together, and then pin them down. Now you could try slip stitching this together, but I think with the 3 layers it would be easier to, I found it easier to just whip stitch it. And you want to make sure everything lines up nice and even. I'm going to go ahead and turn this so that I can get these pinned together. Don't think that pin's very good anymore. Let me just throw that one out. I'm just going to put one more in here. And I'm going to go ahead and bring the camera down so that you can see how I go ahead and whip stitch this together. So just bear with me for one moment while I bring the camera down. I got my yarn needle threaded up, and I'm just going to go ahead and pick a corner to start in. Make sure I go through both layers, and I have a slip knot on the end here like this. So I'm going to put my yarn needle through that slip knot and tighten it down. This can be woven in, or I can just work over the top of it. And just go ahead and start whip stitching this together. So just making sure you're getting through both fabrics. And your stitches should line up fairly well. And you're just going to want to go all the way around the entire outside of your pillow. When you get to the part where you have the thicknesses of 3, make sure you're going through all 3 pieces. So just keep whip stitching all the way around. Don't get your stitches too tight that you're puckering up your fabric. And you can take the pins out as you're going along. This pin can come out if you used pins. You can take them out as you're working. I figure if I usually take them out as I'm going along so I don't forget a pin, because that could be kind of ouchy when you're turning your pillow around. Okay, I'm coming up on that thickness of 3, where we have 3 edges to go through. We'll get to that. Let me get that pin so I don't forget it. So here's that thickness is a 3, and we want to make sure we go through all 3 layers. So again, making sure you're going through all 3 layers, all 3 layers. Just like that. What's nice using the mandala is that you've got 3 different colors, so you know you're going through all 3, because you can make sure you get the light color, the medium color, and the dark color. Just happen to work out that way. And we have a pin right here we can now take out. So continue whip stitching your pillow all the way around till you get back to the beginning. If you when you run out of yarn, just tie off and start a new thread and continue sewing. I'll meet back up with you at the end. Once you have everything sewn together and all of your ends tucked in, you're going to want to turn your piece right side out. Make sure you pluck out your corners. Remember, this is your back. And this is your front. Now you're ready to insert your pillow. So flip it over, grab your pillow, and insert your pillow into the case. You just have to kind of smooth it around a little. And there it is. You can remove your cover whenever it's soiled and just toss it in the laundry. I would suggest putting it in a regular cotton pillowcase when you throw it in the laundry and then a dryer. Mandala yarn is washer safe, and it's machine washable and dryable. So, but I would put it in a regular, take this off the pillow, throw it into a pillowcase before you put it in your washer and dryer. So if you've liked this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that bell so you won't miss any of my tutorials. Thanks for watching, and happy crocheting! Bye-bye!